Madness bracket just came out about 3 hours ago, and it's really good. Me and John were talking about this just a couple minutes ago before we started. This is one of the better um, brackets we've seen in recent memory. So we're gonna share our initial thoughts. We're gonna talk about some teams that we think got a pretty good draw and have a good chance um, of making a run. Teams that we think might have got screwed over a little bit, and then at the end, we will predict the first 4 games, which will be happening on Tuesday and Wednesday. But I think we should kick it off where CBS kicked it off. Should we start it off in the East here?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Duke obviously got the top overall seat in the tournament. That was a no-brainer. Everyone saw that one coming. Um, but Duke, they um, kind of a tough region here, man. They got um, the seeds below them include UConn, Michigan State, Kansas, and St. John's, and then you can go from there. But this is probably one of the better regions. I mean, you look at the games. The game that obviously intrigues me the most is Ohio State and TCU, two teams that on this channel we've been pretty high on both of them in the last couple of weeks. So I think that's going to be probably one of the better games um, of the first weekend there. Obviously, I don't know why Kansas got a 4 seed. I think that's stupid. I don't like that. I think they should have gotten the 5, and St. John should have gone to the 4, especially since they just won their conference tournament against a 2 seed by 20 points. That was a little confusing to me. UCLA, UCF, that's going to be a great game. Um, and then USF, man, we've been talking about the 11 seeds and USF, they've got a chance, man. And especially they're playing Louisville, who we've been hating on. To me, that would probably be one of the few upset games that I would actually have because I look at a lot of these games and I just don't see a lot of upsets. Um, but I think South Florida has a chance to beat Louisville, especially with the way that Louisville played. Oh my word, Roman Anthony home run. USA's up 2-1. Let's go. Um, but anyway, the East is really good. Hopefully, at some point in time, I want to see St. John's versus Duke. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. What's going on, chat? But I think this is just a great start to a really, really good bracket already.
Yeah. Hold on. I accidentally deleted the bracket. I'll close the tab here. I look at the East region, and they really did screw Duke over, especially looking at Arizona and the
Yeah.
next region, which obviously we'll get into that. But Duke has the toughest second round matchup out of any team. It's not even close. Like, they by far have the toughest second round matchup between TCU and Ohio State, which I like. I'm going TCU all the way. I just think that they've beaten Florida, so it's going to be really, really weird having to face that good of a team in the second round,
Yeah.
especially considering Arizona got Utah State and Villanova, which are 2 10 seeds, realistically, in my opinion. And so that's really weird. I really like the UCLA versus the USF game. I think the winner is going to the Sweet 16. I think the winner is definitely beating UConn. UConn has proved nothing to me all season long, and I think this is a perfect spot for both these two teams at the bottom of the bracket. You don't have to face a good team. I don't think UConn's a good team. You don't have to face them till the Elite Eight, probably. Like, you don't. I don't really consider Louisville or Michigan State a good team, and so I just think that this game between UCL and UCF is going to go a long ways in the bracket. I'm just going to say that. And I also really like Louisville versus South Florida. I think that's going to be a very interesting game to watch. I don't know if South Florida can get done. Louisville has surprised me a little bit. They've been playing good against Miami. They played good against Miami twice, so they've been a little bit higher. But man, the only bad seed is UConn at a 2. I think UConn could have arguably been a 3, but other than that, every single team is seeded properly or underseeded. They should be higher realistically. So maybe Kansas could be
Yeah,
a
like
5,
Kansas was the only thing that I didn't really like in this
but
section.
like I mean this is probably the second toughest region in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
So they have their work cut out for them. Duke does, and if they win a couple games, they'll get Patrick Ngongba and Caleb Foster back. But you got to beat TCU or Ohio State, which I don't know. I really could see one of them beating Duke, like legitimately, which
yeah.
is weird considering Duke's the number 1 overall seed. But I mean, it's happened before, so that's all I got on the East region.
Mm-hmm. Yep, same here. Okay, moving to the West division over here. Arizona got the top seed for that one, followed by Purdue, who just won the Big Ten today, Gonzaga, Arkansas, Wisconsin, and then on. This is also kind of a tough one. Already, I'm looking ahead, but Arkansas, Wisconsin in the round of 32. That if that were to be the case, that's absolute cinema. I mean, you can just bank on it being absolute cinema. Um, Purdue obviously did a really good job today taking down Michigan. So they definitely deserve that 2 spot. They're playing really, really well, man. Their their defense looked really good.
Mhm.
And I think they're setting up to do something potentially to make a run here. Even after we were kind of bashing them, I still feel like they're playing well enough as a team right now. And it's going to be tough to slow them down. So I'm liking Purdue a lot right now. Um, Utah State Villanova is another interesting one to look at. But the one thing, or actually 2 more things, Miami, Missouri. That's going to be probably the best first round to look at on this side of the bracket. Um, 2 underrated teams going at it. Um, so that'll be interesting for sure. But the one thing I didn't really like was Gonzaga being a 3 seed. I thought they should have probably been a 4. Arkansas should have gone to a 3, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, I don't like Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga, once they play a competent team that's not named Kennesaw State, no disrespect Kennesaw State, but I think once Gonzaga plays a real team, they don't have a chance.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Gonzaga as a 3 seed. I looked at their analytics today, and they are one of the best analytically gifted teams in the tournament. They're really good when it comes to the stats. I mean, but they've had some weird games. They obviously don't play in the highest competition, so I don't hate it. I actually think Gonzaga is honestly a little bit underrated. So I really hate Arizona's second round matchup. They really just put 2 10 seeds for the second round matchup in Villanova and Utah
Yeah.
State. Both these teams are mid majors. They've both been struggling lately, and I get Utah State won the Mountain West. I think they did at least, but these 2 teams are 2 10 seeds. I'm just gonna say that how it is, and they're nowhere near compared to Ohio State and TCU. So Wisconsin and High Point is a game that I'm looking at most, even more than Miami, Missouri, because High Point is playing some great basketball. High Point, very underrated. People are hyping them up, saying that they're going to be a next Cinderella. I mean, if Wisconsin has an off day, they could easily win. Like Wisconsin has a lot of off days too, so I could see High Point winning. And yeah, and I also like Arkansas versus Hawaii. Hawaii is a good team, and like you said, our Wisconsin versus Arkansas, that's going to be a great game. Like that's probably what's going to happen, and yeah, that's just amazing. So lastly, I want to talk about Purdue and Miami, Missouri. Purdue shouldn't be a 2 seed. I don't care if they won the Big Ten. Purdue just is not a good enough defensive team to be a 2 seed. They should have been like a 3 or 4. They should have given the spot to Michigan State or Illinois, in my opinion. But I guess they put them in there for some reason. I don't know. But Purdue has got a very, very lucky seed, in my opinion. Like like I get that they won the Big Ten, but that's a little bit too generous in my opinion. So that brings me to Miami and Missouri, and I generally think that these two teams could both go to the Sweet 16, make it in the second week, possibly Elite Eight. They both have good paths for them. They both will probably play Purdue in the second round if one of them wins, and they're looking at Gonzaga in the Sweet 16 or BYU. So that's a very good matchup for Missouri or Miami. Like Gonzaga and Purdue, those are two very weak high seeds, very volatile high seeds, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who wins between Miami and Missouri. I haven't made my mind up on that. Most of these games, I have already kind of made my mind up on that.
Yeah.
But
I will say this.
yeah,
I saw a thing about half an hour ago saying um, Hawaii could be a team to look out for to beat Arkansas because if you remember, Yale beat Auburn a few years back
mm-hmm.
um, in the
Yeah,
4-13 game, and that was after Auburn won the SEC. Um, and they both share similar statistics, so that could be um, potentially a game to look out for. But moving on to the Midwest region here, Michigan took the 1 seed. There, followed by Iowa State, Virginia. Four is Alabama. Texas Tech is 5, and from there on, I'm going to start off not with the 1 seed in Michigan, but I think the team that has probably the best route is um, is Virginia. Um, I really like the path that Virginia has ahead of them. Um, Obviously, you got Tennessee probably up next if they don't lose to Miami, Ohio, or SMU. Um, and then you look underneath them is Kentucky, Santa Clara, and then Iowa State. So I think Virginia proved to me that they're legit. I know they lost yesterday to Duke, but they played a really, really good game, and they impressed me a lot. So I think they're a team to look out for as one of the not top 2 seeds to make the Final Four. Um, I'll say there's always a 12 and a 5 upset most of the time. I'm going to say that Akron beating Texas Tech is probably the most likely one, in my opinion. Because Texas Tech
yeah,
just they're coming off of a belting from Iowa State. JT Toppin obviously is still cooked. Um, so Texas Tech is struggling. Akron's playing great. They just won the MAC. So I think that would probably be the most likely 12-5 upset because you have to just pick one. Um, Alabama, obviously, the offense, they just lost to freaking Ole Miss. No disrespect to them, but come on now. Um, and then Georgia St. Louis, that's a really interesting one. Georgia um, kind of was falling off a bit there towards the end of the regular season. St. Louis, obviously, Jonah's been bashing them for the last 3 weeks. So um, I'm curious what you're gonna do with that game, considering St. Louis lost their championship game as well. So I think this is not the hardest. I think the next one more than likely is. Um, but this is still a very interesting one because there could be a lot of teams. You look at teams like Santa Clara, they can make a run potentially. Um, I think this is an interesting one to me because
mm,
it's very uncertain.
yeah. This bracket is the bracket I think has the most possibilities, not the toughest. But
Yeah,
I I'm gonna start with where should I start? I'm gonna start with Georgia and St. Louis. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I think St. Louis that's just a really bad draw playing an SEC team in the first round because all of these SEC teams are really fast paced. They shoot a lot of 3-pointers. I don't know about Georgia, but like Alabama does, for example. And St. Louis is not a very fast paced team. They play with defense, and they're playing a lot more athletic team. That's for sure. So St. Louis, Georgia's the team I'm most confident in. In my 8 and 9, I think it'll be 2-2, 2 8s win it, 2 9s win it. That's usually what happens. And Georgia, I think that's a really clear win for them. I look at Texas Tech and Akron, and I like Texas Tech, but it's a really bad draw for them getting Akron. Like Akron is really good. I'm just gonna say it as it is. I mean, best team in the MAC, obviously. Texas Tech. What scares me is their bench. They don't have any bench. They have like the worst bench in college basketball. Like they don't have any guys that plays minutes coming off the bench. So if there's foul trouble for Texas Tech, and if there's any sort of like injury for Texas Tech, or if there's anything that like involves their players to get off the bench and not play their starters, I think Texas Tech is going to lose to Akron. So that's that. What I found interesting too is I found interesting that they had Bama and Tennessee, both and Kentucky. They had four SEC teams
Yeah.
in the first in this region. So I found that really interesting. Bama, I mean, I think they have a really good path. They obviously play a team I never heard of, so whatever. And they go on and play Texas Tech in the second round, which I think they'll easily take care of Tech in the second round. So I think Alabama's a guarantee to get into the second week. So bottom half of this bracket, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really loving Tennessee. Tennessee's a team that I've been really high on. Tennessee's a team that has been underseeded all tournament long, or all the bracketology videos. Tennessee's a team that is 15 in KenPom. Like I like them a lot, and they play SMU and Miami, Ohio first, I think. So
Yeah.
that's a free win. Like both those teams stink. They're not beating Tennessee. I don't care. And they play Virginia, and I think the winner of Tennessee and Virginia could potentially be a Final Four team.
I agree.
I'm just going to say that
Completely
how it
agree.
is. I don't like Iowa State. Iowa State always blows big games, especially as a recently come to tournament. That's all I know how to do. I don't care if they got Taman Lipsey. Like this team is not much different from what it was last year, outside of Milan Musinovic. But yeah, I don't like Iowa State. They got a really tough draw. Kentucky and Santa Clara is very weird to me. Obviously, Santa Clara played great in the WC or the WAC or whatever, but Kentucky has a decent chance at making a run. I mean, they could beat Iowa State, and I mean, if they play Tennessee again, Kentucky and Tennessee, that's gonna be awesome in the Sweet
That'll
16.
be
Which I think
crazy,
there's a
bro.
good chance it
I
happens.
think that's a possibility, man. It's definitely a possibility.
I just think Iowa State's overrated. Like
I completely agree.
a lot of people think that they're the best team in this region, but I look at it as Virginia
I
and
think they're at least
Tennessee.
3 or 4 better, honestly.
I think Virginia and Tennessee are the teams to look at in this region, besides Michigan, obviously, which Michigan didn't look very good to get today. So
No, they did not.
I don't know how they're gonna do. Elliot Cadeau, if Elliot Cadeau plays bad, like this team is fried. So their backcourt's not good at
Yeah.
all. And that's the one thing that concerns me about Michigan is that they don't have a good backcourt. Like,
And there's
so
only so much Lindeberg can do.
yeah, they're interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I
So
got.
moving on
We
to the
got
last. I
South.
don't have any.
Yep.
Moving on to the
Okay.
South. Florida took the 1 seed there, followed by Houston, Illinois, Nebraska, and Vanderbilt, and so on and so forth. This is a really tough. This is a really tough region here. You start off with Clemson, Iowa in the 8-9. That's a coin toss to me. Honestly a coin toss. That's just a tough game to predict. Vanderbilt and Nebraska potentially slated to face off in the second round. 2 underdog stories this season. VCU as the 11 playing North Carolina, who really didn't look very good last week. And then Illinois has a really, really good chance of doing something, pulling off some upsets or something. I don't know, of making it far. St. Mary's against A&M. A&M isn't very good, but St. Mary's, whatever. And then Houston, and Houston can't really beat a good team. So um, this is by far the toughest one. Um, I will say this. I'm gonna make the prediction right now already. Florida will not win this region and will not make the Final Four. I just don't think they're complete enough to do that. And I think it's going to be one of the lower seeds.
Yeah, I totally agree. This region is easily the best. It's not even a debate. The the East and the left side of the bracket's just the best. Like that's just the right side is not that good. The left side has by far the best teams in it. The only teams that should be maybe lower, in my opinion, is North Carolina. I take North Carolina as a 7
Yeah,
seed.
I
They
think they
didn't play
should
that
have
good in the
fallen. Yes.
tournament. Nebraska, I'm not really high on them as a 4 seed compared to Alabama and compared to Bama and Kansas and who's the other 4 seed? Who's the other 4 seed? Let me see. And Arkansas.
Arkansas. Yep.
Yeah, like I think Nebraska is easily the weakest 4 seed, but other than that, I mean, this bracket's very good. Iowa and Clemson. I'm just gonna probably say Clemson wins because Iowa's played really bad in the tournament. They're just not playing great right now. So I like Clemson. They're okay. And I just look at this Vanderbilt team, man, and Vanderbilt has probably the easiest path to the Sweet 16 out of any team. They play McNeese, which McNeese doesn't really do well against teams that are fast paced. Clemson was a really slow paced team last year, and they prided themselves on playing defense against Clemson. And if they play a really fast team like Vanderbilt, I don't think they can keep up with them. Like they can keep up with Clemson because they just played a certain style of basketball, but Vanderbilt is a completely different team. They're just a lot better than Clemson was. So North Carolina and VCU is what I want to discuss next. I mean, I think I'll take VCU in this game. North Carolina is only seeded this high because they're North Carolina. They're not really
Yeah.
anything special, to be honest. VCU's been on fire. I think they would have gotten at-large bid if they would have lost. So I'm being honest, they would have took SMU's spot as the last team in if they were to lose. But I like VCU a lot, and so that brings me to the bottom half of the region. And out of Illinois, St. Mary's, and Houston, these 3 teams towards the bottom, I really like Illinois a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like Illinois has the best offense. They play an Ivy League school, which Ivy League schools always seem to do weirdly good in the tournament. But I mean, they obviously are going to play VCU, North Carolina, which is a free win in the second round. So they'll automatically go to the Sweet 16, I would presume. And then they'd either play Houston or St. Mary's in the Sweet 16. And Houston doesn't win big games, and St. Mary's always seems to not get past the second weekend of March. So they always seem to get to the second weekend, but they never get past it. So I think Illinois has the freest path to the Elite Eight. Now they're gonna have to play Vanderbilt or Florida or whoever in the Elite Eight, but I think Illinois has the best little area for them in the first weekend to make a run in the first weekend. So I think Illinois is the favorite. Illinois, Vanderbilt, and Illinois are my teams in this region. Like you said, Florida is not good. Like they're going to lose. They're not going to make They're not going to make it past the second or third round. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, my AirPods died, so my audio might be a little cooked.
That's fine.
But yeah, this is like reiterating what you said. This is easily the hardest division here. So do you think should we move on to first 4 games, or do we have anything else we want to talk about here?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Let's move to the first 4 then. What's the first game? Do we know?
NC State and Texas.
Texas and NC State.
So NC State, we didn't really know why they were going to be there, but they're going to play BYU, correct? Winner plays BYU.
Yeah, winner plays BYU.
Yeah. So to me, I just think Texas will win this game. NC State's too unpredictable, and Texas's offense has been playing really well as of late. But to me, honestly, I don't really care about these first 4 games. Obviously, I'm interested about the Miami Ohio game because I just want to see where they fall. But I mean, this Texas game, I'm not really confident that either of these teams have a chance of beating BYU. I would say Texas would have the better chance at doing that just because BYU's defense isn't like the greatest thing in the world. I mean, Texas's offense, when they're on, they're on. So I'll say Texas, I guess, for that one.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a clear winner of our first 4 game, and it's obviously going to be Texas. I'm not going to lie. I think that NC State honestly almost played themselves out of the tournament. They played really bad, and they're just the coldest team in college basketball right now. So, do they deserve to be in the tournament? I think I would have been fine with leaving them out. I would like to see Oklahoma in there, but
yeah, I would have liked to see in a Red River rivalry first 4 game.
Yeah, but obviously Texas has they can make a run. I'm just going to say that. They have the offense, they have the guards, they have Dylan Swain, they have Tremont Mark. But the defense is another question. I mean, NC State, they match up fine with. So give me Texas to easily win this game. I think they're beating them by like 20.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So the next game is going to be Howard versus UMBC. Now, obviously, I have no skin in the game for any of these 16 versus 16 games. Obviously, probably none of these teams, like if they win this game, this is probably going to be their last one of the season. But I'm just going to say UMBC just because I kind of want to see them redo what they did against Virginia. I don't know anything about either of these teams. I'm going just purely off of like personal bias, I guess. So I'm just going to say UMBC for the fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Let me pull up the Howard Bison's KenPom. Howard Bison KenPom rating this year. I'm gonna go with UMBC. I think that they're 185 in KenPom. The Howard Bison they look to be a lot lower than UMBC. So metrics say that UMBC is going to win, and I mean, they usually play tough in the tournament. Man, they've been in there a couple times, and Howard doesn't really get past the first 4. They were in it last year, I think, and they lost to Alabama State, if I'm correct. So Howard, I mean, is always around this type of seed line. Like I don't know, and they always seem to be in the first 4. And I just think UMBC. I mean, it's just gonna play better. They're obviously better in KenPom. Yeah, Howard's 207 in KenPom. UMBC is 185. There's quite a big difference in that. So just the fact alone, I'm going to take UMBC. And just the fact that Howard, I think, sold last year, if I'm not mistaken, in the first 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going UMBC. Howard could win their first game last year in the tournament. And so, yeah, I'm just going off of the metrics and saying UMBC is going to win. Obviously, I don't think they're going to beat Michigan. Do they play Michigan? One of the teams do.
Is it Michigan or Florida?
I don't think they can beat either of those teams, but maybe Florida. There's a very small chance they beat Florida if Florida can't shoot the 3 ball. But, I mean, if it comes to Michigan, I mean, just see it. But Florida, there's like a 0.1% chance they could beat Florida. So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah. All right, we'll save the Miami Ohio one for last. So we're gonna go to the next 16-16 game. It's Lehigh versus Prairie View. I'm picking Lehigh for this game because Lehigh's just been chirping Duke for the last week ever since they won their conference tournament. And who knows? Maybe they will go on a run and they'll eventually play Duke in the Final Four of the national championship. So I'm gonna say Lehigh because they're kind of funny on social media.
Yeah, I don't. The problem with these teams, they're so far down in KenPom. Like I'm trying to find them, but I can't. Um, Lehigh and Prairie View, I'd imagine, are in the 200s for KenPom. They're both probably very similar, and I'm just gonna go Lehigh. Honestly, I don't. I don't really have a reason. I'm just this game obviously is going to be the worst game of the first four. It's obviously going to be probably the worst game of the tournament, but that's what the first four is. It's not really great basketball. It's just basketball before the actual 64 teams. So Lehigh wins. I can't find these two teams in KenPom. Otherwise, I'd give more of an analysis, but that's that.
Okay. That brings us to the game that everybody's kind of been talking about here. SMU, who pretty much played their way out of the tournament most of towards the end of the regular season. They were playing Miami of Ohio, who everybody thought was a tournament lock, and then they were kind of on the edge of their seats today. So they got a first four, got to earn their spot into the big dance here to play. Who will they play? Tennessee. So obviously, I think whoever wins this game is going to get spanked by Tennessee. And I kind of want to just pick SMU, man, because SMU, they've played better competition. They're more experienced. They're 8.5-point favorites, if you can believe that. And Miami, Ohio, you don't just lose to UMass on national television and come back from that. I'm sorry, you can't. So just for that fact, Miami of Ohio proves that they're frauds, losing 2 games in a row to end off the season. So I'm going to pick SMU, but SMU is going to get belt, but from Tennessee.
Yeah, I really, I'm gonna be honest. I can't pick SMU. I know you're a little bit high on SMU, but this team.
It's not even that I'm high on. It's not even that I'm high on. It's not even that I'm high on SMU. It's just I'm low on Miami.
Yeah, I guess, but like SMU is the worst team in this tournament. Outside the mid major, they're the worst Power Four team in this tournament, and they're worse than quite a few mid majors too. I don't think they deserve to be in the tournament. They did so bad at the end of the season. Like it was just disgusting how bad they did. SMU, I mean, honestly, had decent expectations going into the tournament to perform, and they still didn't perform at all come ACC tournament time. So they obviously have talents. They have what it takes to win a game, I guess. But Miami, Ohio is, I mean, I can't count them out because of one loss. I'm sorry. Like, this team is still, I'm trying to find them in KenPom, but they're in the 100.
They're
I'm pretty
low,
sure.
bro.
Are they in the hundreds for KenPom?
Mm-hmm. Or at least like 80s or 90s, something like that.
This team's so, it's weird because this team's, okay, they're 93 at KenPom. So if you look at it from a statistical standpoint, SMU is 43, Miami, Ohio is 93 in KenPom. So the advantage should go to SMU, but I can't pick a team that has been playing so bad at basketball lately. And Miami, Ohio kind of has a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to be honest. Like, there's questions whether they make the tournament, and I don't see them just ending their season on that. Like, you don't go 30-0 just to lose in the first round or the first game. So will they beat Tennessee? I don't think they'll beat Tennessee, but I think Miami, Ohio is very underrated. I just can't stand SMU. They're just really bad. So Miami, Ohio will win the game. So I don't know what score it'll be though. I don't know. The only thing I will say about SMU is that if Boopy Miller can put up 20, 25, I think SMU will win. But I think Miami, Ohio has a lot more to play for than SMU. They got to prove why they've won 30 games. So that's that.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that kicks off the start of March Madness, man. It's going to be a real busy week. Whew. Here we go. So we're going to have videos out probably every day this week predicting games. We don't know what the plan is yet officially. So we'll tell you guys that tomorrow. But be ready. We're going to be probably back here same time tomorrow night. But best time of the year. Get your popcorn ready because there's going to be some madness going on here. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe so you can be caught up for all the stuff that's going on in the college basketball world. After college basketball is over, we're going to go crazy into NFL draft analysis and MLB season. So with all that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.